Hey there, crew. It's Mark from Menwhobullet, and in this series, I'm answering your questions that you're asking around bullet journal, stationery, myself, kind of everything in between, and I'm really excited to continue to do this with you. If you have questions that you would like to ask, you can head over to menwhobullet.com/questions, and you can ask your questions there. I have them read live. So let's go ahead and check out what today's question is going to be. This one comes from Chantal T from Montreal, and the question is, have you ever created a spread that you quickly hated, and if so, what did you do? This is actually a fantastic question because as soon as I read it, I knew exactly what bullet journal it was in. I knew the exact spread on what it was, and I knew exactly why. So it all stems from this notebook right here. So the story behind this is that I did create a spread. It was a weekly overview spread. I was feeling it, really excited about it. And then I decided that I was going to add some cactus to it. So I was going to peek behind some of the containers that I created on the page. And as I drew them, and I'm not a great doodler, they looked a lot less like cactus and a lot more phallic in nature. And I looked at it and I said, oh, that's not what I wanted those cactus to look like, and I can't take this to work. And so what I did is I quickly went through and I found some newspaper and I just covered the entire page with newspaper. So that was one that I just knew kind of right as I did it was a bad idea. I didn't love it and I needed to change it, and covering it was like my best option. I'm not a fan personally of ripping out pages in my journal. I don't know that I've ever done that, so I definitely wasn't starting there, so I just covered it up real quick and no one would know the difference, but now you know exactly what it was. I do also have times when I am creating that I'm not really feeling it. I have a bad habit of actually going too far. I've had a couple of spreads in the past few years that I've used with like stamps and things like that where I was like, ooh, let's add watercolor to that, or let's try something different here, and I just made huge mistakes and hated the way that it looked. But I'm a strong believer in kind of sleeping in the bed that you make. If I do that, I'm going to work with that and I'm going to hate it probably all week long, but then I'm going to reflect on why I didn't like it. What was it that didn't work for me or didn't I like? And what will I make sure that I change so that in the future that doesn't happen again? So if I find that watercolor in my bullet journal is something that I don't feel confident with and I never like the way that it looks, I'm not going to maybe do that as much. If you're not a creative bullet journaler, maybe it's the way that you set up a page or used it, the functionality of your grid or something along the lines of that you're like, yeah, this just wasn't it. Reflect on that when you come to the week and you start to migrate your tasks. Think about what didn't work and how you might change that next time. And I think you have a much better solution on your hands there. So hopefully you enjoyed this story and answering that question. And thank you so much for asking it. If you have another question that you would like to ask, you can head over to menwhobullet.com/questions. And then you can ask your own questions around bullet journal, stationery, or anything else you've just been curious about. So I'll check you next time. Thanks so much and happy planning.